The dust was thick in the air, old and untouched for centuries. Every step the human team took inside the ancient ruin echoed like a whisper through the empty halls. Rex, a young human engineer, wiped sweat from his forehead. Even though the air was cold, his boots crunched softly on the cracked alien floor tiles. Each one marked with strange glowing lines. "This place gives me chills," muttered Carla, the team leader. Scanning the room with her plasma rifle raised, "Stay close. Don't touch anything," she added sharply, looking right at Rex. But Rex was already drifting toward the strange wall at the far end of the room. He didn't mean to disobey. Was like something was calling him. A soft hum came from the wall, steady and calm, glowing. Patterns swirled across its surface, like liquid light trapped inside stone. He raised a gloved hand and hovered it just an inch above a blinking symbol. "Rex." Carla shouted. Don't his fingers touched the glowing mark. The ruin responded instantly, a deep sound like thunder underwater. Rolled through the ground, the lights in the room flared bright blue, and a pulse of energy swept out in every direction. The others ducked, covering their heads, thinking it was an explosion. But Rex just stood there, frozen in place, staring at the wall. "What did you do?" Carla shouted, grabbing his arm and pulling him back. I don't know," Rex said quietly, still staring as the wall began to shift. The stone cracked down the middle and slid apart, revealing a staircase that led deep underground. Cold air rushed upward, carrying with it a scent like ancient metal and something else, something alive. "This is bad," whispered Juno, their navigator, backing away from the opening. "We should leave," Carla said, already reaching for her comms, but the signal was dead, just static in her ear. The ruin had cut them off from the outside, I think. "It activated a power system," Rex said, voice trembling. "Nothing's been powered here for 10,000 years. Juno replied, "You just woke up something ancient." The team argued for a few minutes, panic rising. Carla wanted to seal the entrance and run back to the ship, but Rex couldn't walk away, not yet. He needed to know what he had started. He moved to the stairs, and after a moment's hesitation, the others followed. Step by step, they descended into the darkness, only their helmet lights guiding the way. The walls around them pulsed faintly. Reacting to their presence, alien technology, older than any known civilization, stirred back to life. Finally, they reached a massive chamber, round and smooth, with one giant pod in the center. It floated above the floor, held by invisible energy. Humming gently, the pod was covered in transparent crystal. And inside was a figure, tall, elegant, dangerous. An alien woman, her skin pale violet, long hair floating in stasis like silk in water. She wore ceremonial armor made of living metal, parts of it still glowing faintly. Her eyes were closed, her body peaceful, but Rex could feel the pressure in the room change. She was waking up, suddenly. The pod opened with a soft hiss. The air went still, like the whole universe held its breath. Her eyes opened bright gold and filled with something ancient and deep. She looked straight at Rex, and he couldn't move. She sat up slowly, her gaze never leaving him. When she spoke, her voice echoed in their minds. But Rex's translator glitched for a moment. What she actually said was, "Chosen one, you woke me." But what the device translated was, "Mate, you belong to me." Everyone stared at Rex, speechless. The alien woman stood, towering over them, calm and regal. Rex took a step back, heart pounding. "Oops," he whispered, not sure whether to run or kneel. A pulse of light shot from the walls, and an ancient signal was sent into space. Far away, ships stirred. Governments reacted. Alarms blared. The Queen was awake again. The galaxy would never be the same. Rex didn't know what to do. He stood there, frozen, heart racing in his chest. The alien queen had taken one step forward. Her golden eyes fixed on him like a hunter watching its prey. Her tall form shimmered under the dim blue. Lights of the chamber, armor shifting softly as if breathing. No one moved, not even Carla. Weapons were ready, but no one dared raise them. The queen spoke again. Her voice not from her mouth, but inside their minds. It was soft, almost kind, but ancient and full of power. The translator crackled, confused, its words shaky. You are mine. Chosen. It said. Rex blinked, confused, his mouth dry. He tried to speak, but only managed a single word. Me. The queen slowly reached out her hand toward him. Not aggressive, not violent, just calm. Curious? Sure. Her fingers were long. Elegant, glowing softly like firelight. Carla whispered, "Back away slowly, Rex." But Rex didn't move. There was something in her eyes that held him still as soon as his hand brushed hers. Another pulse of light shot through the room, a ring of symbols lit up on the floor around them. Forming a circle, the air felt heavier and strange energy filled the space. The others stumbled back as the floor beneath the queen and Rex rose into the air, a platform lifting them high above the chamber. Juno shouted, "What's happening?" No one answered. The translator buzzed again, now more clear. Bond initiated. Consort recognized. Preparing for memory transfer. Rex's eyes widened. Wait, what? No, no, no. I didn't agree to this. But it was too late. His mind filled with sudden images, bright lights, ancient stars, battles, a galaxy burning. In war, he saw her past, her empire, her betrayal. He felt her pain, her loneliness, her hunger for revenge and peace mixed together. And then, for a brief second, he saw himself standing beside her, crowned. The platform lowered again. Slowly, the queen stepped back, still staring at him. "You are my anchor," the translator said. "You woke me, so you belong to me." The crew finally found the courage to move. Running to Rex's side, Carla pulled him away, checking his vitals. "You all right?" she asked, her voice tense. I think so," Rex said, holding his head. "She showed me things. Her memories. I think she's linked to me now." Behind them, the pod she had slept in cracked and shattered, crumbling into dust. The queen turned her back and walked toward the far wall. The stones shifted again, revealing another passage. Even deeper, glowing with golden light, she glanced over her shoulder, speaking once more. "Come, consort. The stars have changed while I slept." Carla pulled Rex aside, whispering, "We should leave now. Get back to the ship, call for help. But what if that wakes something worse?" Juno said, looking at the symbols on the wall that were now blinking. Like a countdown, Rex shook his head slowly, still dizzy from the memory transfer. "If we leave her here, someone else will find her," he said quietly, "and they might not survive." The queen stood at the doorway, waiting behind her. The deeper chamber pulsed with ancient energy. Rex turned toward her, then looked back at his team. He took a deep breath, his voice steady. "I started this. I have to see it through, and—" With that, he stepped into the light, not knowing what waited ahead. Only knowing one thing for sure. Whatever came next, it definitely wasn't supposed to happen this way. 3 systems away, alarms started flashing across the control deck of a Corin flagship. The signal had reached them clear and unmistakable. An ancient royal code. One that hadn't echoed in the galaxy for over 10,000 years. A high-ranking officer dropped his datapad, his scaled face pale with fear. "The queen is awake," he whispered. "The signal is real. Within hours, every major species knew. The sleeping war queen, from the age of burning stars, had risen again. Some called it a lie, others called it prophecy. But every government reacted the same way: send ships, find the humans, contain the threat, or if necessary, Erase it completely, back on the surface of the moon. Rex followed. The Queen deeper into the ruins, the lights grew warmer, shifting from blue to gold. He could hear her humming softly in her native tongue. It was strange, calming, and terrifying at the same time. Behind them, Carla and Juno exchanged nervous looks as the walls around them began to change. The deeper they went, the more advanced the tech became. Metal pillars pulsed with life, and ceilings floated. In midair, alien statues bowed slightly as the Queen passed, reactivated by her presence alone. Rex couldn't understand how she still had this much control after being asleep so long. But every step he took with her seemed to bind them closer together. At last, they entered a massive chamber shaped like a star. A glowing orb hovered in the center, and above it, a throne made from living crystal. She walked up the stairs, turned slowly, and sat down like she had never left. The orb pulsed one sand, then the room came alive. Dozens of holograms blinked on, displaying galaxies, fleet positions, enemy symbols, and names written in dead languages. The Queen's voice filled the space, calm but commanding. 10,000 years, and the galaxy still fears me, she said. Yet they forget I was not their destroyer. I was their balance. Rex stepped forward. Why me? He asked, voice shaking. She looked at him, head tilted, as if trying to understand the question itself. You were curious, she replied. You were brave. And you were foolish enough to wake me. A new hologram appeared, ships, hundreds of them, moving toward the moon. The Queen narrowed her eyes, her voice now sharper. They come to chain me again, she said, standing from the throne. But I am not alone this time, she added. Looking directly at Rex, you will not make me your weapon, Rex said firmly. The Queen walked up to him, eyes glowing brighter. You have a choice, she said, her tone softer. You can run, or stand beside me and change everything. Carla stepped between them, weapon drawn. He's not going anywhere with you, she warned. The Queen smiled, not with anger, but something else, like amusement. You misunderstand, she said, placing her hand gently on Rex's shoulder. He is already linked to me. If he dies, I sleep again. If I die, he breaks apart. Juno gasped. You bonded to him? Rex stared at her, shocked. You didn't say anything about dying. I didn't plan to, she said calmly. But the galaxy always chooses chaos over peace. A new sound echoed through the ruins, distant, faint, but real. Engines, big ones, ships, had entered the moon's orbit. They were no longer alone, and whatever happened next, the entire galaxy would be watching. The walls trembled as the first enemy ship entered the atmosphere. Dust fell from the ceiling, lights flickered, and deep below, the Queen's throne pulsed with warning red above the surface. 27 ships from 5 species circled the moon, their orders clear: contain or kill. Rex stood at the center of it all, breathing hard. He never asked for any of this. He just wanted to study old tech. Not trigger a galactic crisis, but now, because he touched one glowing symbol. He was bonded to an ancient queen who everyone feared. And worse, she seemed perfectly calm about it. The Queen's golden eyes scanned the ceiling like she could see straight through the stone. They're scared, she said quietly. They always were. Juno ran to the console and tried the comms again. But it was no use, the entire ruins blocking. Us, she said. No signals in or out. Carla paced in tight circles, weapons shaking in her hands. This is insane. They're going to open fire. They'll bury us here. The Queen didn't respond. Instead, she turned to Rex and did something no one expected. She knelt, one knee to the ground, and placed her hand over her heart. Before war begins, she said, a ritual must be completed. Wait, what ritual? Rex asked, already nervous. She reached out and touched his forehead. A spark of energy passed between them like ice and fire. At once, he gasped, then stumbled, clutching his chest. Visions flooded in again, faster this time battles births. Bonds, betrayals, he felt her life flowing into his, like two streams crashing into each other. When it stopped, he fell to one knee, blinking wildly. "Why? Did you do that? Huh?" he asked. "You are now recognized by the core system," she said. "You may speak in my name, command my shields, access the throne." Rex stared at her like she was speaking madness. "I can barely run a coffee machine," he shouted. "You don't need to understand it," she said, stepping back. "You only need to survive." A deep rumble echoed through the hall. Something massive had landed on the surface. The queen raised her arm, and the walls peeled open like petals, revealing a long hallway lined with smooth mirrors and strange floating crystals. "Come," she said, walking ahead. Rex glanced at Carla and Juno, who hesitated, then followed. At the end of the hallway was a platform surrounded by empty air. Below it was a pit so deep, no one could see the bottom, and rising from the center was a glowing chair made of shifting metal and light, clearly built for her. The moment she sat down, everything changed. Outside, every ship in orbit received a sudden burst of code, ancient, locked, and alive. Their weapon systems jammed, their engines froze. And a voice came through every speaker in every language. "This moon is under royal seal." It said, "Leave or be erased." Panic broke out across the fleets. Some ships backed away, others powered up their weapons, ignoring the warning. One fired. A blue beam tore through the sky and struck the ruins, but it never hit the ground. A golden shield had formed above the structure round. Humming and indestructible, inside, Rex stumbled back as the energy roared through the walls. The queen remained seated, eyes closed, her fingers floating over glowing controls. "The first shot has been fired," she said, her voice cold. And in that moment, Rex understood. This wasn't about him anymore. This was about a queen taking back her throne, with or without his help. But deep down, he knew he was already part of it, whether he liked it or not. The queen stood without a word, her hand glowing with light that pulsed like a second heartbeat. Outside, the alien fleet panicked. Some ships fled. Some powered up weapons again, but one did neither. A sleek obsidian vessel drifted forward. Silent, no energy signatures, no warnings from within its hull. A message was transmitted directly to the throne room, not through tech, but through thought. The queen froze, her expression changing for the first time since awakening. Rex stepped forward, cautious. "What is it?" he asked. The queen didn't answer immediately. Then she whispered something that made the air turn cold. He survived. The ship belonged to him, the one who had betrayed her 10,000 years ago. The one who sealed her in stone and erased her name from every star chart. He was still alive, and now he had come to finish what he started. Carla pulled Rex aside, her voice low and urgent. "This is getting worse by the minute. We need to break the bond. Run, hide, whatever it takes." Rex shook his head, eyes locked on the queen. "She's not trying to kill us," he said. "She's trying to prepare us." The queen extended her hand and summoned something from the wall. A golden panel emerged, shifting like liquid, revealing weapons not meant for human hands. But she handed one to Rex anyway, a blade made of vibrating light and memory. "You will need this," she said. "He will not speak. He will strike." Rex looked at the weapon, then at her. "I'm not a soldier," he said. "You don't need to be," she replied. "You only need to stand." A deep hum shook the ground. He was descending, not through the sky, but through the old tunnels of the moon. The queen turned to the throne and touched it one last time. The floor opened, and a long staircase revealed itself beneath. "This was not meant to be our battlefield," she said. "But the stars always change their plans. Without waiting, she walked into the dark passage, her cape of living metal flowing behind her. Rex followed without thinking. Carla and Juno hesitated again, but this time they didn't argue. They followed too. The lower tunnels were older, carved from black stone veined with violet light. They pulsed slowly, as if breathing with the return of two enemies. Each step echoed with a strange tension-like history repeating itself. At the bottom of the stairwell, the door was already open. He stood there, waiting, tall and regal. Covered in armor that looked grown, not forged. His eyes were silver and hollow, his presence sharp like broken glass. He smiled when he saw the Queen. "My dear." "You always wake when it's too late," he said, voice soft and cruel. She said nothing, only stared, but the silence between them was heavy, filled with war, betrayal, and a love that had died long ago. Then he looked at Rex and laughed. "A human." He said mockingly, "This is your chosen one." Rex gripped the hilt of the strange blade, unsure if it would even work. The Queen stepped forward, placing her arm gently across Rex's chest. "No," she said to the silver-eyed traitor. "He is not my weapon. He is my reminder." The air tightened, and with a single nod, the traitor raised his hand. The duel began not with words, but with light. The room exploded in soundless light. No one shouted, no alarms rang its energy. Raw and violent, twisting between the two ancient beings, the Queen moved first, her hands slicing through the air, summoning glowing shields that shimmered like glass under sunlight. The traitor moved next, calm and cruel, his fingers forming deadly spears of violet flame. Rex was thrown backward by the force, crashing into a wall that seemed to soften and catch him like a cushion. Carla dragged him up, yelling something, but he couldn't hear her. All he could see was the Queen, fighting with fire and grace, her armor shifting with every move. It was like watching a god in a shadow dance through time. Juno tried to hack the control panel nearby, hoping to activate some defense system. But the ruin rejected her. Only one person had access, Norex. The bond with the Queen had marked him, and he could feel it deep in his chest, like a second heartbeat matching hers, as the Queen dodged a sudden strike. Rex felt a sharp pain in his shoulder, not physical but emotional, as if something inside her had broken. He stood up slowly, fingers glowing without him trying. The weapon she gave him answered the call, rising into his hand, light forming along the blade. He didn't know how to fight, but the weapon remembered. It guided him forward, not fast, not perfect, but enough. He stepped between the Queen and the traitor, just as another blast came flying toward her. The blade cut through the attack like mist, and for a second, everything stopped. The traitor's silver eyes narrowed. "You protect her," he said. "You, a child of dirt and meat." Rex didn't answer with words. He raised the blade and pointed it straight at him. And for the first time, the traitor hesitated. The Queen stood beside Rex now, her expression unreadable. She didn't push him away, didn't shield him this time. She let him stand there Aquil. The battle didn't continue with light. It turned quiet, sharp, mental. The traitor reached out with his thoughts, trying to break the bond between Queen and human, but the bond held firm. Rex felt his mind pulled into a deep ocean of memory, again visions of cities floating in the sky, thrones made from stars, and war that never truly ended. He saw the traitor's lies, the Queen's pain, the people who once believed in her. He saw her fall, her silence, and now her hope. When he came back to himself, his hands were shaking. The traitor looked at him one last time. "You don't know what you've awakened," he said. "You'll regret this then." With a flick of his fingers, he vanished, folding space around himself like a curtain of smoke. Gone. Rex collapsed to his knees, breathing hard. The Queen knelt beside him, placing her hand over His chest. You did what I could not, she whispered. You stood between fear and fate. The ruins began to glow brighter. Above them, the golden shield faded, and outside, the ships had stopped firing. A silence had fallen across the moon, one that came not from defeat, but from uncertainty. What would the Queen do now? And what would the human beside her become? The silence above the moon spread across the galaxy. No one moved, no one spoke. From the furthest outposts to the deepest command centers, leaders stared at screens, showing one human standing beside an ancient queen. It didn't make sense by all logic. Rex should have died the moment he woke her. But instead, she stood at his side, not as a master, but as something different, something new. Rex sat near the edge of the platform, eyes staring at the stars beyond the broken ceiling. His hands still trembled from the power that had surged through him. He never asked for this, never trained for it. But now, the entire galaxy was watching. Carla stood beside him, arms crossed, her voice low. You do realize the Council will try to wipe this place out, she said. Rex nodded slowly. They already did, he whispered, and she stopped them. The Queen walked alone through the throne hall, her fingers trailing against the glowing walls. She didn't look like a ruler anymore. She looked tired, not weak, but full of memory. Rex joined her without a word. She turned to him, eyes softer now, the golden light within them dimmer. The galaxy sees me as a weapon, she said. And now they see you as my trigger. But I never wanted to pull anything, Rex replied. She gave him the faintest smile, one filled with both pride and sadness. You were not meant to wake me, she said. But fate moves around those who act. You are not like them, she added. You ask questions, even when afraid. Together, they walked to the heart of the ruin. There, hidden beneath layers of crystal and light, rested the true throne, an ancient interface linked to every corner of her once great empire. If she sat, the systems would reactivate. Armies would rise, old codes would awaken. She could start it all again, but she didn't sit. Instead, she placed her hand over Rex's, and slowly the throne dimmed. She chose silence. She chose peace. Outside, one by one, the ships turned and left orbit. None dared attack again, not out of fear, but confusion. Why would a queen let go of power? And why would a human walk away with her? Back in human space, legends already began to spread. Of a young engineer who bonded with a forgotten queen, of a battle that never happened, and a war that ended before it began. Some called it a miracle. Others called it a threat, but none could deny the truth. He woke her, he changed her, and together they broke the cycle.